Throughout this past semester, I've learned some fairly valuable abilities. Specifically, I have improved and added the following skills to my repertoire: real-world understanding, woodworking, writing and revision, reading analysis, and sleeping. Yes, I am now a sleeping master. Expanding on the first skill I mentioned, real-world understanding, I'd say it's safe to say that understanding won't come without research. You can't understand something before you research it and know facts about it. Facts come first, connections between the facts come later, and then we call those connections understanding. Here's an example. Say a baby is learning to understand gravity. Let's call him Bob. You tell Bob, gravity is the effect of curvature of space-time that causes all objects to be attracted to all other objects, and he's going to tell you he wants a cookie. But if you tell Bob that A, gravity is invisible, B, gravity pulls stuff together, and C, big stuff pulls harder than small stuff, Bob just might hold on to his cookie tighter because he understands that the floor is pulling on his cookie harder than the cookie's pulling on the floor. Bob made a connection between those three facts, and that gave him an understanding of gravity. So, real-world understanding is living the idea. The next thing I'd like to cover is revision, as well as planning and time management. Of course, before any revision, you need to create a rough draft of a sort, just a quick, unrefined mind vomit. It could even be a set of notes. Anyway, you have to start with something. This is then followed by a review, be it a classmate or a partner or a teacher. With classmates, this review is often mutual. You trade drafts and find flaws in the other person's paper. Once you receive the review, you trade back. You look at the corrections and choose which ones you think make sense. Sometimes the reviewer won't understand some of your concepts, but maybe two other reviewers do. So one person doesn't get it, but some people do, so you can say, well, if most people get it, then it's probably okay, and that way you can still keep some of your original thing while still reacting to what other people think of it. By doing this, you can slowly chisel down your draft into perfection, or at least something you can be proud of. In the Heroes Project, I was to pick someone I admired, someone heroic, and create a short professional article discussing my feelings towards them. I had quite a bit of trouble writing this, because I would obsess over each paragraph before writing the next. Every single sentence had to be perfect. Then I started trading drafts with my peers, and I saw how rough drafts they had, and how much more they had written. And I realized that I just needed to write a lot of blah, and then refine it. Semi-recently in Humanities, we did a primary sources project. Basically, we were given a mysterious packet of excerpts and transcripts. It was asked of us to piece together facts from those records and create a timeline of imperialism in Africa. The first thing we did was read through each artifact, and then we tried to timestamp it. None of this was useful, though, until we could discern what the writer or the speaker meant. Who were they talking to? What did they think of them? Did they have an agenda? Is this a formal situation? Etc., etc., etc. By focusing on tenses and formal phrasing, along with general formatting, it was hard but not impossible to identify who the speaker/writer was and what they had to say. This taught me attention to detail. Simply identifying the intentions of an author. In STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, we did a lot of woodwork, focusing on the engineering section. Needless to say, not everyone was born a skilled woodworker. As a matter of fact, it seems most of us were born terrible woodworkers, but, well, we made stupid mistakes. Luckily, Mr. Kaneko, our STEM teacher, was always there to offer some kind of advice and remark at how amazing it was that we could mess up such simple things. The good thing is, we never made the same mistakes twice. Sort of. Most of the time. Yeah. Still, improvement. Much of what we learned about woodworking was a general sort of knowledge and courage to try. Before making tables and hydroponic systems and such, none of us would be too eager to attempt any of those things, but now we're always happy to hear of another project. The final thing I want to talk about is my sleeping habits. For reasons unknown, Mr. Kaneko seemingly randomly decided to discuss sleep habits at the beginning of class one day. It didn't take me long to realize how bad my sleeping habits were. I was unorganized, so it took me a while to get my homework done. Inconsistent, I would go to sleep at 2, and then I wouldn't sleep at all, and then go to sleep at 8, and that would mess up my body clock. And I suffered from taking random all-nighters, so maybe I would get a nice schedule, and then I would completely ruin it by just staying up all night. Speaking of which, the script was written in such a way. And yet, good news everyone. That's a reference. I fixed my problem, mostly, and now I'm sleeping much better.
Any questions for Leo? Oh, question. Leo, I have a question for you. I really enjoyed the humorous side that you took to certain things, but I think that the strongest thing that you had here is that you identified the skills and appropriately named them. Was that easy for you to do, or was it a challenge for you to categorize them?
I made up the names and then figured out what they were kind of afterwards, so it wasn't a challenge because I found a skill and then I searched for where I would have that skill. I mean, I still have some idea, like woodworking, obviously, I didn't just randomly think out.
And do you think that you do your best work when it is the last minute?
I have no idea, because I don't know when it is the last minute, because I don't know when things are
You
due.
wrote this last night.
I guess, yeah.
So,
I mean, I was working on it for a while.
okay. Okay, Cameron.
Do you feel that if you did the script sooner and started to memorize it, you wouldn't be reading as much, and you're more so connecting with the audience?
Well, assuming that I practiced like a good student, yes. I'm not sure I would have, but if I had done so, then absolutely I would have been able to look down less.
Are you reading up scripts or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, good job, Leo.